So this week is the reading vlog for the 15th to the 21st of January, and I have 3 books on the go, so this is going to be very exciting for me to talk about. As I'm sure I've mentioned before, I don't actually remember, feel like I may have spoken about it, may have cut it out, who knows. But I am not a multi-reader. I don't really do multiple books at once. I find it very confusing. I'm a person very much, when I'm in one, I commit to it right up until the end, because I feel if I read other books, then I lose the excitement of the book I'm currently in. I also feel like I'm not very committed at the same time. I feel like if I start one book and then stop and then read another one, like, am I really enjoying that book if I'm starting another one? Like, that book should be so exciting that it's keeping me so enticed that I forget all about that book. And then also at the same time, I really don't like the idea of being 100 pages into one but only 30 into another one. I feel as though it needs to be very even all the way through. My mind works overtime. I get very stressed very easily. So I decided to give it a go because I really do want to read more, but at the same time not devalue the books I'm reading. I want to make sure that I still enjoy what I read. I won't do it too much. So I thought, right, what I'll do is in January, this is part of a New Year's resolution. I thought in January, I'll try it. I'll see if I enjoy it. If it's not for me, then I will stop, because if it's taken the fun out of reading, I won't do that. But currently, it is actually going quite well. I'm enjoying it. I have to be honest, I'm only doing 2 books. 39 Steps I did want to read. It is a script, not really a book, but I still include it because, well, you have to read. I really wanted to do this because I am a big fan of theatre. Everybody who has seen any of my previous videos, if you've not, check out my More About Me video. You might learn something. But I really wanted to read this. It's hilarious. I've seen it performed. And to be honest, we're debating putting it on. I personally am debating directing this. I don't know when. Sometime in the future. Not really soon, I hope. I don't really want to take on that responsibility yet. I have directed before, but tangents. But it's such a short script. It's only 100 pages, and I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I can get through that in one sitting. And I just think, well, if I can get through it that quickly, I don't need to prioritize it right now. I can get it done anytime. Whereas some of my other books, as you'll see with this one, it's huge. Look at that. Look. That is massive. How can I prioritise this tiny little thing over finishing this? So I prioritised that one. But yeah, before I move on to that one, because I need to talk a bit about that one. This, I really do want to read. I will 100% get to it by the end of the month. I will 100% try to do it by next week. It shouldn't take me long. It should take me about an hour. It's so easy to do. I have no excuses. I'll do it. I promise. And now I've promised I have to, because you're gonna call me out on it if I don't. Next book I'm going to talk about is Peter Pan, because I want to leave this one until the end, because I have a lot to say about this book. Okay, so the next one, Peter Pan. Don't have a physical copy, reading it on my phone, which automatically makes it harder, because I am not an e-reader, I don't like Kindles. I have one, don't like it. I just tend to put books on my Kindles that I don't really want to buy. Or to be fair, it's just easier sometimes. But if I don't want to buy a book, if I think, I'll read it once, get rid of it, don't really care about it, I'll put it on the Kindle, because that way I'm not really wasting book space and also money. But I do have it on what we have in England. I assume they have it everywhere. Don't even know if it's everywhere in England. But they have a library thing, and you can borrow books via ebooks from the library, and it's an app called BorrowBox, and if you don't have it, get it. It's very good. They have pretty much everything you can have in a library on there. It's great. So I borrowed it. Ideally, I wanted to read it on Audible. Don't do audiobooks, so I wanted to give that a go as well. And I thought it'd be quite nice, especially Peter Pan. It's very much a younger book, I think. not necessarily a children's book, but definitely it's a book that you don't have to have all of your attention on all the time. It's a very easy read. So I thought it would be a good idea to get it on audiobook. I can listen to it while I'm walking around places, when I'm on the bus to work, things like that. And I thought, right, I'll do that. And then the audio version that I had turned out not to be the actual book. It was it was the book, but it was played out as almost like a play, an audio play. It wasn't the book, and I wanted the book. So I've put on reserve the audiobook. It isn't actually due to come to me until the end of the month. Someone else has borrowed it at the moment. So I've put that on reserve. Should I not get to the end, which hopefully I will, I can have that and then I can listen to it as well as read it. But for the moment, reading it, I think I'm five chapters in, and I love it. I think it's great. It's one of the better books I've read this year. I've only read 2 and I'm currently reading 3. That's 5. It's not going to be hard to be at the top. It's definitely in my top 10. But I am very much enjoying it. I love the character of Peter. One of the first times I think I'm actually loving a primary character. But I think he's so childlike and fun, and it takes me back to my youth. Not necessarily that I am like that, or I was like that at all, but the childish excitement and the fun, I just absolutely love him. I think he's also quite funny as well. He's just very childish, like when he was crying and then she said, "Oh, you're crying because you don't have a mother," and he's like, "No, I'm not crying because I don't have a mother. I'm crying because I can't get my shadow back on, and also I'm not crying." I'm like, yeah, yes, I like. And then absolutely loved, not really a spoiler, it's at the start of the book. Wendy tells Peter that John disrespects her, so Peter walks up to John, who is asleep in bed, and belts him out of the bed. Proper gives him one big kick and he goes flying out of the bed. I found that hilarious. But now I've mentioned Wendy, I really need to talk about this. And all of the Darlings in general, I hate them. I cannot explain why. They've not really given me a reason to dislike them, but I just think they're not nice people. They're boring or they're snooty, and I think Wendy in particular, she is very up herself. She talks about herself as though she's a fantastic upper class lady, and quite frankly, she's not. She's a kid. She's a child, and she acts like a woman. And I don't necessarily have an issue with that, but I think she looks down on Peter as though he is a child. And he is, but I don't know how old they are. They don't say ages, but I think relatively similar age. And I don't think she has any right to be looking down on him. I'm very passionate about that. But yeah, that annoys me. I don't really like any of the Darlings. I think Wendy needs to be taken down a peg. I'm up to the part that I know is coming. I've seen films and adaptations and things. Plus, the author of the book has actually told us what is going to happen, which I absolutely love. Tinkerbell's going to kick her down a peg or two, and I'm excited to see how that pans out, and I'm excited to see if it actually works and has an effect. I'm very much excited to see that. I've written loads of notes down about this book, and they're on my phone. I'm filming on my phone, so I can't read them. But yeah, I absolutely love the book. I think it is fantastic. I can't wait to see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be done by next week. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be. Saying that I do have a lot of reading to get through. But yeah, I will make sure to update you on that. When I finish with this book, I want to give it a dedicated review, but I'm torn. I'm torn between giving it a dedicated review or not. Because what I do want to do, and I have mentioned this before, is I would like to do a comparison video of the book and the movie. Movie is pretty much going to be the Disney version because that's the version I've seen. And also it's probably one of the more popular versions. There's quite a few versions of Peter Pan, but I think the Disney version is the go-to. And I would very much like to do a comparison between the two and which one I preferred more, because I'm actually really not a big fan of the Disney version of Peter Pan. I didn't like it at all. Never have. And I absolutely love Disney, but not that one. And I love the book, so I'm very excited to discuss why and compare and see where those changes come to. I'm also very excited to see Captain Hook. He's coming in it soon. So yeah, that's all from me and Peter Pan. My next book, The Goldfinch, Donna Tartt. Now, you'll have probably seen all of my faces every time I pick up the book. I want to stress all of my scared, horrified, disapproving faces are due to the size of the book. The book itself is absolutely fantastic. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I definitely want to give a dedicated review to this. I also want to do a comparison because I found out they made a film actually only last year, and I'm very excited to watch that, so I can't wait to get to the end of this just so I can watch the film and then do a comparison on that. But this book, it's about a young lad. He's called Theo Decker. Is that right? Yes. He's 13 years old, and he's been kicked out of school, and him and his mother go to, is it a museum or an art gallery? I should know. I really am enjoying the book. But wherever they go somewhere. There's artwork, potentially a museum. Nah. Anyway, it's at the start of the book. This isn't a terrifying thing. It even says it on the back of the book what happens. Google it, it's there. He is involved in a terror attack in that gallery. It explodes. His mother sadly passes away. Say that like it was natural. It was quite horrifying. And immediately this book gripped me. It doesn't start with that. It's quite a few pages in before that attack actually happens. But I was invested immediately. And then it happened, and that just changed the game for me. That made it even worse. I am so emotionally invested in this book now. And they're my favourite type of books, the ones where I feel something. If I read a book and I break my heart, I feel so depressed because of how it is, I will love that book. I would rather read a book and feel horrible about it the entire way through, because it was amazing and really got me into it, than read a book and not really care. I really would. And I love it. I think Theo is a great lad. Initially I had a bit of an issue, as it is written, I assume, from an older Theo's memory. And I felt like he was quite mature, didn't really get a lot of the 13-year-old Theo. But it works. It does really work. And seeing this entire story unfold, we found out how his mum died. It's not enough that it was in the terrorist attack. They explained how, and that broke me even more. It wasn't even violent, and it broke me. And then he ends up moving in with a wealthy family. His friend, who he said he hasn't really spoken to that much, he moves in with them. And I really expected to hate them. I thought, they're very wealthy, they're going to be snooty, and I'm going to really dislike them. Love every one of them. Love them. I think they are fantastic characters. I love his son. I don't think there's a character that I actually don't like in this book yet. Oh, actually, yeah. One of the wealthy family. The older one. What's he called? Platt. Hate him. Read this book, you will see. I am 166 pages in. It's 864, so there's a long way to go. I don't know how I feel. I'm loving the book, but I am scared because I think I love it so much at the start. Can this continue? Is it going to continue all the way through? Or is something going to happen? Is it going to peak and I'm eventually going to hate it? Is the middle going to be bad, but then I'll love the ending? I've read so many non-spoiler related reviews on this, and it's very 50-50. Some adore the book, some hate the book. Some have said, I loved parts of the book and hated other parts. And I'm scared of getting to the parts that I don't like, honestly. Because this book, for me, I always stay away from giving, 5 out of 5 reviews on things, because I just say I don't want to be one of those people that give the stamp of approval to everything, so I always try and avoid it. This book so far is on track to being a 5 out of 5, and I hope it continues. I really do. I don't think I will finish this book by this week. Don't even think I'll finish this book by the end of the month. I'd say probably around... I've given myself the deadline of the 14th of February because, well, it's 29 days this year, but I was originally, when I thought about it, thinking 28 days of Feb, midway through, 14, about right. So I'm going to give myself to the 14th. Bear with me until then. Next week, hopefully I'll be more of the way through. Up to now, I would recommend getting this book. It is fantastic. I didn't think I would enjoy it when I first heard about it. Can't for the life of me think why, but I really thought it's going to be set in like the 40s or something like that. No, modern, contemporary, very good. I love the author's writing style. The chapters are actually, some are relatively short, some are relatively long, but they have the little sub-chapters like that, which I like. That makes it easier for me. I don't do big chapters. I tend to read a lot when I go to bed in the evening, and I can't stay awake for 20 odd pages. I'm going to switch off. So a good 5 to 10 pages per chapter. I could probably read 3 of them in the time it takes me to read one 20-page chapter, because it just feels much more segmented, and I love that. So yeah, those are my books this week. Hopefully I'll get to the end of them and start the 39 steps. And I hope that people do read the books. If you have any recommendations that I can add to my TBRs for the future, hopefully I'm going to be doing a February TBR very soon. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. I post every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, and that's all from me.